As Michigan's premier film school, MPI has been providing hands-on training for over 2 decades here in our 20,000 square foot studio with sound stages, editing labs, and sound editing suites. We're currently enrolling students for our September 21st start date. This week, our cameras are focused on the heart and soul of our one-year filmmaking program, our experienced faculty, each with a working background in the film business and an incredible passion for sharing what they know with the next generation. Today's special guests are from our camera department, instructors Rob Skates and Patrick Elliott. Here's your host, MPI's marketing specialist, Sarah Mahmood.
I'm joined here by Rob Skates and Patrick Elliott, both of who teach at MPI. Rob and Patrick, I'm going to have you guys kick off and start by telling our audience a little bit about your backgrounds and what you're teaching.
I'll go. So I'm Rob Skates. I teach cinematography 1 and 2, and I'm the camera department instructor for our production lab class. And my background is I'm a cinematographer. I'm a camera operator. I'm a former union camera assistant. So I went to film school like a lot of other people and ended up shooting a lot of thesis films and projects for my fellow film students. And that sort of segued into me realizing that I didn't want to be a director and writer. That I was far better behind the camera. So I started shooting a lot of low-budget stuff as a cinematographer. And then one day somebody said to me, hey, would you like to come work for me as a camera assistant? And I kind of thought, well, that's a bit of a step down from being a cinematographer. But when they told me how much the pay was, I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. So I kind of developed this dual career working as a camera assistant on commercials and as a cinematographer on low-budget features and music videos and stuff like that. And I eventually joined the union as a camera assistant, and I got to a point where I didn't want to travel as much anymore. So I took a position with a motion picture camera rental facility here in Michigan. So I shoot, I work as a camera assistant occasionally, work as a camera operator occasionally, and work at a rental house. And I teach.
All right, so I teach at the Motion Picture Institute, Production Lab 3. That's the main class I teach, which is all about cameras and being a camera assistant. So kind of what Rob was talking about a moment ago. My class, I like to call it Camera Boot Camp. So those that are interested in technology and new cameras, lenses, and cinematography, it's a pretty fun class that goes through how to work with the reds, how to be a good camera assistant. And really, when you leave my class, I want every student to be able to run professional cameras and feel confident going out on set and working as a camera assistant. So that's the main class I teach. I also teach 2 class sessions for commercial production, which is a lot of fun. That takes a look at filmmaking from a different perspective of more documentary style, run and gun filmmaking. So I come in and guest teach on that for 2 days. And I also have 1 day that I teach for Film Lab, where I come in with the actors and I basically explain to them how to interact with the camera and tell them a bit about how a camera department is formed and the different positions inside a camera department to get them familiar with how to work with cameras on a set. So all 3 of those are a lot of fun to work with, but I'm pretty much heavily involved with cameras and the technology at MPI. And then my background, I actually went to MPI, so I am a grad. I graduated in 2007. I was initially in school to be a dentist like my father, and worked there one summer and realized it was not for me. And so I always had this passion for film and pursued it. I went after it. And when I toured MPI, it felt like the right place for me, and I'm really happy with that decision. One really cool thing about MPI is it gave me my whole network, like Rob. He gave me a lot of my first opportunities and introduced me to everybody at Stratton where he works. So it was great networking for me. And it gave me a really good education. So from MPI, though, my background, I pretty much jumped right in as a camera assistant. In fact, my first big opportunity was on a feature film through the Motion Picture Institute. I worked as a first assistant camera. I believe, Rob, you were the camera operator on that. And Lon, locally here in town, Lon Stratton, was the director of photography. So that was my first big opportunity as a first assistant camera. And then right after I got that first feature, I jumped on to one or two more. And I started really working as a camera assistant, traveling around with Ford Motor Company. I did that for about a year and a half. And then it just sort of went from there. I worked my way up as a camera operator. I started shooting a lot more after a couple of years. And started my own production company now. So my production company is called Diaconia Productions. I still shoot a lot as freelance. And I also direct and produce a lot of content now, own a lot of equipment in the area. So I rent equipment. I kind of do it all in the industry right now.
It sounds like both of you have a great wealth of industry experience that you're able to spin back into the classes that you teach. Curious to know if there are any MPI advantages that each of you would like to highlight for people who might be considering film school.
I think one of the things that's unique about our school is every single instructor works professionally in the field that they instruct. So that advantage is, I mean, it's not just that we currently do work in the field. So we bring that experience. Our knowledge base is based on current equipment and current production trends. And it gives us the opportunity to bring students with us onto the shoots that we do professionally outside of the school. As Patrick mentioned, one of his the first feature film I think he worked on was something that I was a camera operator on. And my boss at the rental house, Lon Stratton, was a cinematographer on. So we have a pretty big network of working professionals. And I know Jeremy, who teaches lighting at MPI and technology, he brings students out onto his shoots as well. I'm proud to say that the last 4 or 5 camera assistants that I've had over the past 10 years have all been MPI grads. And that's important to me to do that. But the other thing is, I know that they've been taught well, and not just from the camera perspective, but they understand production as well. So they know how to behave on set. They know what set etiquette is. They have a good attitude coming in, and they get it. And the biggest compliment I can give to anybody when somebody asks me about a prospective crew member they want to hire is to say that they get it. And I can certainly say that, once students come through MPI, they get it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And some of the other unique things about MPI to me is, one, the cameras and the equipment and the facilities that we have. I mean, we have 6 red cameras right now that students can check out. The Gear for Grads program, I think that's extremely unique, where you can come back and rent gear at an extremely low rate to shoot professionally once you graduate. I think the soundstage is incredible. I took some film and video courses in my college career as well. And the hands-on aspect and the facilities, you don't really see that so much, at least where I went in the college setting. So I really like the hands-on aspect of it, and the equipment that the school has to offer. And to build on Rob's point as well, the network of MPIers now, the school, there are so many alumni that are working now. And like I mentioned before, I produce content, and I have a client that we go out to New York every single year. And when we go out there, there's a network established in New York that they help. The crew comes from New York. I don't have to travel every single person because there's MPIers out there that I know can get the job done. Same goes pretty much anywhere you go in the country now. Like, there's a solid MPI network going on. And I think that's really unique, and that's really great that we're putting so many students out there that are working professionally and successful in the field. So that MPI network's a great thing to lean on as well. But really, it's, I really find that MPI, with that hands-on approach combined with the network and all that they have to offer, it's a really great experience for students. I don't know, I guess I went there in 2007 and to see it grow and to see that network grow from 2007 to now, I think it's actually really incredible, the success of the students that we've seen.
You guys are right. That network really is powerful, and it has grown over the years. And we have people who are really all over the place, which is nice because, like you said, when you're out and about and in a different state, you have go-to people. And because they've graduated from MPI, you can, trust that they're at the skill level you need for whatever you need to do at the time. So do you have any additional advice for, students and grads? How can they stand out? How can they make the most of their experience and set themselves up for success? Maybe you guys can draw on even your own experiences coming up through your careers. Was there anything that you learned that you'd toss back at people who are on their way back up and kind of point them in the right direction with?
The reality is right now, with cameras the way they are, and your cell phone, has the ability to make amazing video. To me, the biggest thing, the biggest bit of advice I can give anybody is to really work at being a great person on set. We all want to work on films, and the reason you go to film school is so that you can do that. And the hours are tough, and you might work 12 to 14 hours a day, and you're in close proximity with people. And you'll see more of the crew that you work with during any film that you're on than you will of your own family. So I personally have learned to try to make that environment as welcoming, as diverse, and as open as I possibly can. And I try to have fun, because if you're going to be someplace 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, the very least it should be is a fun environment to be in. So that means relaxing and not getting angry and not getting frustrated, and trying to really always be the kind of coworker that you'd love to have. And if you happen to be a department head, like a cinematographer, the kind of boss that you would like to have. Because filmmaking is a collaborative art, and it can be a little bit tough when you have an individual or a couple individuals who it's not great to be around. So if you're going to get into this, really think a lot about what you can bring to it, and how you can come to the set every day and try to make the experience as pleasant for everybody around you as it is for yourself.
I guess if I had to spin it a different way, it'd be, for grads, my advice would be driven and be focused. And really the driven part of that is, you need to have that proper set etiquette that Rob mentioned. You need to show up on time. You need to work hard. And Rob kind of hinted at it, that the hours, especially if you're doing feature work and, lower budget features in that world, it could be really long hours and really long days. So you need to have fun. You need to have a good attitude. You need to be positive. That to me is number one. And when I hire crew, I always hire from MPI as well. And one of the first things I look at is attitude, and are you on time? Are you doing the things the right way? There is a business side to this as well as the creative. So you have to check those boxes first. Otherwise, you're not really going to keep getting hired if you can't do that. And then focus, the second part of that, focused. A lot of times people want to do a little bit of everything, and that's cool. But for me, what really helped my career was focusing in on one thing. That was camera. And Rob was my teacher at the time. And I really, when I came to the school, I actually wanted to direct and write and edit and do all these different things. But as soon as I focused in on what my passion really was and what I was all about, and just focused on that one thing, for me, it really took off, and I found success focusing on that one thing. So I'm a true believer that of whatever you're passionate about in life and what you want to do, you're probably going to be a lot better at it if you like doing it. So find that passion in the industry, because there are so many different jobs and careers that you can have in film. But find it and go for it with everything you got. And I think that'll get you pretty far.
Well, thank you, Patrick and Rob. That's solid advice. And I'm sure everyone who's tuning in and listening to this is going to walk away with at least a nugget, if not 6, to apply back to their own trajectory. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Enrollment for the fall is now underway for both our full-year production program and our exciting new MPI Actors Studio workshops. the Motion Picture Institute, now online and on set and accredited. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to wrap it up by joining some MPI students hard at work on our fabulous soundstage.
Oh, forgot the lens cap. There we go.
Hey, wait up!
I am working. Okay, guys, roll sound, please. Here we go. Pictures up. Rolling.
Scene 1, take 7, marker.
And action! I wasn't sure how to turn my creativity into a career until I started film school. My name is Sydney, and for 4 years in college, I really didn't know what to do until I found MPI. Now, I'm making my own movies, and I wouldn't trade the on-set experience for anything else in the world. MPI has been launching film careers for over 20 years. Are you ready to start yours?